Hey there, welcome again to another episode of Making Myself. Today I'm going to explain a concept. It's fairly universal, I think. It comes from the Nassim Nicholas Taleb. It's how to add value in our lives by subtracting stuff from our life, actually. If you know him, Nassim Nicholas Taleb, he was the one that wrote a best selling book that it's The Black Swan, but he also wrote Antifragile or Antifragility. Really good books. I really recommend them. So you might be asking, okay, what's antifragility actually, right? Is that something that I want to be? And the answer is yes. We want to be anti-fragile, right? Because fragile is something that breaks fairly quick and easy. We want to be anti-fragile. And what anti-fragile means is that whatever is anti-fragile, it thrives against adversity. And of course, we already know in life a lot of stuff. It's tough, right? We need to go through problems and things that are not easy. So we want to become stronger as those happen, right? So anti-fragility goes beyond resilience. It thrives in chaos, gaining strength from adversity, right? So Taleb suggests that embracing disorder can make us not just robust, but also anti-fragile. And that's where we want to be. Think of it as the human immune system, right? Exposure to germs makes it stronger. So somehow, if we live in a bubble, as soon as we get in contact with a germ, it might kill us. But if we are somehow exposed from time to time to those germs, we're training our immune system, so it's not going to kill us eventually. And we can think it of in persons, but we can think also in organizations and startups. Like, think of any startup that made it big, right? Or any company. This company went through a lot of adversity for sure, because I don't think that any company worth a while was like everything like roses and fun all along the way. It's really difficult. There are many problems. There's a lot of adversity. And when the right mindset and the right processes and the right leadership comes, um, they make the company anti-fragile. So the more adversity they have, the stronger they become. And that's what we want to be. So you might say, okay, Freddie, that's awesome, but how can I be anti-fragile? And that's what it takes to the next step, the power of simplicity. Taleb emphasizes the simplicity and removing unnecessary complexities, right? How can the simplicity lead to anti-fragility? Simplifying our lives allows us to navigate uncertainties more effectively, right? It's about finding strength in minimalism. Consider any success business streamlining their processes for efficiency. That's one example. Or if you think of it, right, when Steve Jobs came back to Apple, when it was about like a few months from bankruptcy, when he actually came back, when he was ousted from Apple after some years that he helped build up Pixar and Next, right? He was wiser. He came back to Apple and he saw like a zillion product lines, the company about to be bankrupt. And it was a difficult thing to have. Like, it was so chaotic. Like, it was a mess, right? What Steve said was, well, he decided to kind of make four categories of products. He went to desktop, standard and pro, and then also computers, not desktop, but more the stations, right? And for standard and pro, he actually simplified the whole structure in the product portfolio from Apple. He focused on what Apple was good at, which was building hardware, and kind of linked it to software as well. Basically, he simplified the whole thing and put focus on what they were good at. And of course, after that, he started to thinking about how to diversify, but it was with laser focus decisions. It is when they build up after that the MP3 and well the iPod, right? And well, you know the story behind it. But it's super interesting how simplicity can build up and can transform companies and people into anti-fragile entities, and that's what we want to be. Again, we want to be anti-fragile. We don't want to break as soon as an adversity comes in. So we touched on what's anti-fragility, then how can simplicity uh, can build up anti-fragility, right? And of course, the next step is how can we simplify? And that's an easy one, right? We simplify by subtracting stuff. We don't need more stuff that complexifies the whole thing. We need to take out stuff from our lives. We need to take out and simplify things in our companies, in our whatever it is that we want to solve. Many times we'll think of how can I solve this problem, and okay, what tools do I need to buy, what nutritional complements do I need to buy and eat in order to fix that stuff, or drugs, right? What drugs do I need to take in order to take this pain out, or to whatever it is. Sometimes if we use also the inversion mental model, maybe the question is, what things do I need to stop doing, or stop drinking or eating, or in order to improve my health, or in order to go to whatever the goal you're setting yourself up to. So if we're overweight, sometimes we think, oh, we need to buy this diet or this professional or this, and maybe no, maybe we just need to stop or eating less, right? And it sounds very obvious, but we are in a way that we're dragged and pulled by society, and we always want something, and we're wired to consume stuff. And sometimes the solution is in not consuming other stuff, right? Sometimes, of course, it's hard to execute. I'm not gonna say that it's easy, but sometimes we overthink, and in terms of, or with the objective in mind of simplifying your life, normally it's by subtraction that you're gonna add value to your life. And we could put some examples here, right? Like the example of being overweight, that's a clear example, and it's obvious, right? Like we should maybe stop eating the bad stuff, the unhealthy stuff that it's making us being overweight, right? That it is this downward spiral that we go, because we're feeling worse, and then we get more addicted to sugars and all that stuff, that it's not helping or health, right? But in the same way, it might not be as obvious when we have our schedules full with meetings, for instance, right? How many meetings do we have per week? How many of those actually add value for your employer or your team, right? That's not an obvious answer. It is not, because sometimes we just go with the with the inertia, right? Like we're just doing the same things, and we barely stop and breathe and think, okay, is this meeting actually adding value for the company and for the team, or is it actually wasting time? Because the answer is not, hey, things are not going well, what meeting should we do in terms of improving that? Because we do that. We we think into this we fall into this alarm mode, right? We get anxious, and okay, there's a meeting that we need to do in terms of discussing why things are going bad. And maybe it's, hey, maybe we should stop taking the time of making stupid meetings, so we have time to focus on what's important, right? Also the Pareto law, right? Like 20% of the actions that actually where the 80% of results come from, right? So all these things come from actually having good focus and time to think. because that's another thing. We need to put ourselves in a place where we have the time and we have the focus to make good decisions, because those good decisions will make us more time to keep making good decisions, right? And to be in a state that we keep on making good decisions. If we start doing bad decisions, it will put us in the future in a bad state that we keep. It's going to be harder for us to decide better, because the more we rush decisions, it's going to put us on a worse scenario or situation, where it's going to be worse for us to make a good decision, and it's a downward spiral again. So we want to put ourselves in the future so we are in a state that will make a good decision. And that's normally by subtraction again. So we connected those three concepts, right? Anti-fragile, we want to be anti-fragile. And what brings anti-fragility many times, it's uh, simplicity. And simplicity comes by subtracting stuff that it's not actually working for us. And again, it sounds very obvious, but when we go into our daily lives, it's really hard to execute many times, because there's a lot of noise, and sometimes we need to breathe, we need to think, and that's not something that we're used to nowadays. But just give it a thought, and let me know what you think about that stuff. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. um, think again, like, you can add value to your life by subtracting stuff. And remember that in a world often obsessed with addition, subtraction can be a powerful tool for creating a more anti-fragile and meaningful existence, if you know what I mean, right? So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for listening again, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.